Hey, greetings from Texas. I thought I'd do another video on cooking with this Trangia stove I got from sportsmansguide.com. And so this time I'm going to use the lid to cook. The lid is kind of tough to fit in there, but we'll try to make it work. Anyway, today I'm going to make S.O.S. or cream beef on toast. I do have Army cookbooks from 1905, 1942. I'll put a copy of the recipe. I got comments on my previous S.O.S. videos about the type of meat. There is no right or wrong on the meat. You know, people used dried beef, you know, they call it cream beef on toast. But in the military and in the cookbook, especially in 1905, you used whatever meat you can get, including horse meat. You can use corned beef, you can use corned beef hash, I mean whatever you have on hand. It's just basically a meat with gravy. So what I have here to facilitate the size of my gear is I have a 1/4 pound of ground beef, 80-20, a couple tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of fat. Now you can use any kind of fat too, there's no right or wrong. The military cookbook says bacon fat, but you use whatever you had, so any kind of fat to make your roux. And usually the ratio is equal parts of flour to equal parts of your fat for your roux. In the 1942 cookbook, they make notations about using onions, so we're going to do onions today, salt and pepper, and for liquid you can use water. It's whatever you have again. In this case I have canned milk. You can use beef broth, whatever you want, so there's no right or wrong in that respect. So let's go ahead and light the stove, kind of get this going. I'm using 91% rubbing alcohol. If you're going to use rubbing alcohol, use the highest octane, and normally it's either 70% or 91%. I found that using, in my last video I used a 70% and I got a lot of black, a lot more carbon. Okay, so let's get this kind of pot in there. And since this is aluminum, it's kind of hard to season the way aluminum disperses heat. It just kind of gets hot and burns everything. So I'm just adding a little bit of fat into this oil. Let's get the salt and pepper ready, and the seasoning will be done toward the end. And you can use, again, whatever seasoning you want. If you got seasoned salt, it's whatever you want to make it. Okay, so there's no right or wrong. So please don't send me comments about what's right or wrong. Okay, we'll let this thing heat up, and we'll come back at you. Okay, welcome back. We're 5 minutes in, and the alcohol in the stove burned down a little bit more, which allows some airspace in the tank and for the fuel to vaporize to activate the jet. So let's go ahead and start browning our meat. Got some holdouts here. See the ground beef kind of sticking to the sides. That's what I mean about aluminum. And I'm using a wooden utensil. I avoid using metal utensils. When cooking with aluminum, just to minimize getting bits of aluminum in your food and digesting it. Let's go ahead and do a little seasoning. A little pepper. I like pepper. A little bit of smoked Himalayan sea salt. So we want to ground our beef. Once we do that, we're going to cook the onions in the butter, after which we will add the flour to make our gravy. It's kind of hard in a pan like this to get some real caramelization, and then you can cook your meat to the desired doneness. If you're using canned meat like canned ham or corned beef hash, you know, it's obviously going to take less cooking time because you're just going to be heating it up. If you cook ground beef at lower temperatures, you'll get more, I call it crumbleization. You get tinier crumbles. Especially if you keep stirring. Alright, I'm going to call that good. Let's see if I can get this ground beef out of here. Alright, let's do the onions. Just going to put a tiny bit of oil. Get the onions started before I add the butter. Get all that meaty goodness off the side of the pan. Alright, I went ahead, made my toast. Get that ready. We don't want to burn the onions, so let's go ahead and make our roux. So we're putting our butter in, and I'm going to try to guesstimate about 1.5 tablespoons of flour. Okay, so you want to just kind of cook it up enough to get out that raw flour taste. I'm going to go ahead and add some more flour. I'm not blocking the camera here. Okay, let's put our liquid in before it burns. I always carry some canned milk with me when I'm camping because you don't have to worry about refrigeration. So it's just kind of a guesstimate on the amount of liquid, depending how thick you want your gravy, thin or thick. Alright, so we're going to put our meat back into the mixture here. Okay, so we're looking a little bit thick. Let's add some more milk. You know, cooking's just the more you do, the more you learn. Alright, so I used about half of that can of milk. So let's go ahead and season it again. A lot of pepper. Okay, I'm going to call that done. Oh, that came out. Let's go ahead and... There we go. Alright, that's probably actually enough for 2 servings with that 1/4 pound of ground beef. There you go. So let's go ahead and give it a taste test. There you go. Simple meal. That's good. I like it with the onions. Kind of adds a different element to it. Hauling bread around when you're backpacking or motorcycle camping isn't great, so you can use tortillas. Tortillas will, I mean, you can keep in your refrigerator for about a month, but you know, as long as it doesn't get too hot, they'll keep for a week easy in your camp gear. Okay, that is surplus mess kit cooking. Another example of what you can do if you have the desire.